Today's liar is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is an enemy combatant waging a war of subversion against all of us. Don't get the wrong idea here. I'm not a Democrat, a Libertarian, or a Green Party critter. I'm an American. I'm one of we the people, which makes me the authority in this country over all of our politicians, over every appointed criminal in our government. We the people are the authorities, not Donald Trump. What Donald Trump is just an actor who's playing the role of the president, carrying out the wishes of the people who own the Federal Reserve and the TV networks. Donald Trump told you in his inauguration speech that he was your enemy. You didn't understand. You had to hear the words that Donald Trump refused to say. Trump refused to abolish the Federal Reserve, which is what any genuine president would have done. The first words out of any honest person's mouth during an inauguration speech would have been, "The Federal Reserve is hereby abolished." Next, he would have told you that he had sent generals to send armed troops to arrest all 535 bribe liars in Congress, because every member of Congress, except for Louis McFadden in 1934, and a guy named Bluin from Georgia a few years ago who wrote a bill to abolish the Fed. Every member of Congress has been committing treason against us since December 23rd of 1913 by allowing the Federal Reserve to exist to rob every person in the United States. Donald Trump didn't do this. With that, he told you he was going to continue the robbery. He was going to continue to allow the IRS to rob all of us. And he was going to continue to allow enemy attorneys to work in our government to destroy our freedom. You probably don't understand that all attorneys on planet Earth are enemies of humanity. It tells us this in the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, which you probably believe is a hoax. It isn't a hoax. It was written by the same people who own the Federal Reserve, the people who control Donald Trump, the people who lie to you every day with TV by never telling you the truth about anything that happens in the United States. This is who Donald Trump works for. This is who allowed him to be president. They also would have allowed Hillary to be president because it never mattered to them which one won. Hillary and Donald Trump are the exact same thing, enemies of we the people. Both of them would allow the Federal Reserve to continue to exist to rob all of us. If you don't know that, you need to ask questions. Every person in our government is an enemy of we the people. All of them are usurping our position as the authorities in this country. You have to read the Declaration of Independence, and you have to understand the last paragraph, by which we the people authorized our servant politicians to declare our freedom to the world. Read it. It tells you that they declared our freedom in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies. Those servant politicians understood that they were servants. They didn't try to usurp our authority. They obeyed us. Trump isn't obeying us. He's lying to us every single time he opens his mouth. Because as long as that Federal Reserve exists, you're being robbed. You're being made a debt slave to the Rothschild family who owns the Federal Reserve. Trump knows this. Hillary knows this. And all 535 bribe liars in Congress know this. You have the authority to remove all of those bribe liars from Congress, to throw out Donald Trump, to throw the criminals off the Supreme Court, and to reclaim your freedom. You have to talk to each other about these things. You have to stop believing the crap that Trump throws at you. You have to stop supporting him. You have to stop supporting Democrats if you support them. And you have to support we the people. We're the ones who are supposed to be in charge in this country. We're supposed to be using common sense. And when we see that we're being robbed by every elected bribe liar in the United States, we have to unite to stop it. Can you learn that you're being robbed? Can you read the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 5, where it tells you that Congress shall have the power to coin money and regulate the value thereof? That's pretty simple, isn't it? There's nothing in the Constitution that says that Congress can take bribes to sell this power to the owners of the Federal Reserve so that they can rob everyone in the United States. That's what's been going on here since December 23rd of 1930. And no one is telling you that. TV doesn't tell you that. Your history teacher doesn't tell you that. And none of our bribe-lying politicians tell you that. You have to learn this for yourself. It's simple common sense. You have to wake up and you have to stop our politicians. Thanks for watching.